After about 5 months after the start of this event called Special Military Operation that Russia is conducting against Ukraine, about 5 months after the start, I thought I started losing it. You see, the reality around me started kind of giving cracks. Lots of things that I saw and heard around me stopped making sense. They appeared very strange, and quite a few of them appeared very strange. Yet, everyone I was talking to thought they were normal. I started giving cracks. I didn't understand what to do about that. I kind of got scared. I thought, diabetes perhaps, first sign, Parkinson, anorexia, scary. And then a bolt of lightning struck me. I remembered that I heard that music before. I read a book long time ago, written by a Brit named George Orwell. And the book has a very simple short name, 1984. And this phenomena that is happening with me right now is there in the book. In that fictional book, but phenomena is real and it's happening now. So I started digging in my memory and going and thinking, and bingo, that phenomena is called newspeak. And all of a sudden, everything fell into places. Of course, everything makes sense now. It's just the sense is according to the newspeak. And this is what I'm going to be telling you about. Howdy. Welcome to Inside Russia. My name is Konstantin. I'm streaming live from the very heart of Russia, from Moscow, not too far from the Kremlin. I'm giving you daily updates on what is happening currently in my country. Events unfolding, the news that you don't hear from the media, and my takes on some things. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'm going to be talking about this very strange new thing called the newspeak. The newspeak of Russia circa September 2022. Well, I'm going to give you a few examples because it's really hard for me to explain. I don't want to give you a theory and doing the mumbo jumbo talk and, no. I'm going to give you certain things so you understand what exactly I'm talking about. Let's jump right into the examples. And number one is McCarthyism in Russia. Okay, in the past, I was growing up, I was taught in high school, in history lessons, that there was such a thing in the United States called McCarthyism. Basically, a witch hunt for people who had communist ideas, who thought differently from majority of people, and at first I thought it was propaganda, and then I learned that it was true, actually. And McCarthyism was one of those things that it was like a curse, like shame on the country's face, And that's how we were taught at school by the Soviet society. There was a dogma that McCarthyism was, if you wanted to tell a person something bad, you say, you're McCarthyist, like you're a Satanist, or you're fascist, or something like that. Something like that, that same thing, McCarthyist. And McCarthyism was bad, really, really bad. And then I came to the United States. I learned a little bit of history, and I also got an opinion, general opinion, that most Americans think it's a dark spot in country's history, and they don't like to talk about it. They don't like to recall it, and then not the finest hour of the United States of America. Let's put it this way. Well, fine. Well, it's in the past anyway. I don't care. Fast forward to August 2022, and in Russia, in the building of Russia Duma, State Senate, a new commission, a new entity is formed. It's called the Group for Investigation of Anti-Russian Activities in the Field of Culture. Basically, a bunch of big shot politicians got together and decided to investigate some individuals who were not supporting and still not supporting the official party line. In their vocal and the personas, their aim is the personas of culture. Famous singers, actors, you name it, movie directors, theater directors, personalities that are famous in the field of culture. And that kind of smelled like not good, like something old from the United States. At first I thought I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought that kind of sounds like McCarthyism. And McCarthyism was they all taught us at school what McCarthyism was in the USSR. It was the worst thing that humanity could come up with. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, wait a second. This kind of reminds me. And then I read the information, and at the end, this fellow, member of this group, official member of group named Alexei Volynets, he, I quote, says, "We need our own Russian, Soviet McCarthyism." So we basically, in plain language, he says, we need our own Russian McCarthyism. Soviet? Why Soviet? We haven't had Soviet Union in 30 years. We destroyed it. That was the worst country you could think of, And all of a sudden, we need our Soviet McCarthyism. You see, in the old days, McCarthyism is evil, is shameful, something shameful. And now we need our own Russian McCarthyism. And that is the old language. But everything makes sense when you consider this a newspeak. The newspeak of Russia, everything is, of course we need our own McCarthyism. Of course, and everyone cheers. This is the newspeak. Number 2, Russia hasn't lost anything. Vladimir Putin recently said in answering a question, he was participating in Eastern Economic Forum or Asian Economic Forum. He was asked a question and he answered clearly. He said, well, Russia hasn't lost anything in this conflict, as a result of this special military operation that Russia is conducting against Ukraine. Forgive me for saying that. That's how it's called here and allowed to be called here in Russia. Well, Russia hasn't lost anything. You see, I made a separate stream about that recently. And I'm going to give you a link. Just go and watch it. That's pretty important stream. One of the most important ones I did made. Same thing. I made a stream about McCarthyism. Not a stream, but a video. Go watch it. That's more of a amusing. But this is serious, right? We haven't lost anything. Well, what about $300 billion that have been frozen abroad of Russia's central bank reserves money? Over $300 billion. How about those companies? Over 1,000 companies, Western companies, that have left or have decreased their activity in the Russian market. What about the jobs that were lost? What about the tax revenue that were lost as a direct result of those companies leaving? What about oil and gas sales that have been lost? What about the best customers we've ever had? Europe, that has been lost as a reliable buyer of oil and gas. I would like to someone give me the answers to these questions. And the most important thing, what about the lives of Russian soldiers that have been lost? The last information we were given, the official information, is over 1,000 people died, killed, or died of wounds. But that was the end of March, and this is middle of September. Tell us the real numbers. But even if we consider the numbers of March, the end of March, it's the most priceless thing we have, the lives of our boys, soldiers. What about the lives of Ukrainian soldiers? What about the lives of Ukrainian civilians? What about the image of Russia? Credibility, honor, respect, relationships that have been lost. What about all of this? But now I know. What I'm asking is the old language, old speak. But according to the new speak, that I agree, Russia hasn't lost anything. The new speak, I agree. We haven't lost anything. So, example number 3. Recently, a couple weeks ago, the head of Zaporozhye region that is controlled by Russia, Zaporozhye is currently controlled by both Ukrainian forces and Russian forces. It's split, and then there is a head of Zaporozhye on the Russian-controlled side, and his name is last name is Baletsky. Well, he now announced publicly that Ukraine is Ukrainian forces shelling the side that is controlled by the Russian forces. Therefore, there are fires, and the wheat is burning, and locals cannot harvest. Therefore, they're going into a humanitarian catastrophe. I read it twice because I thought I misread something, although it was in Russian. Well, from the latest I know, the latest I heard, Russia on February 24th started a special military operation. Vladimir Putin is responsible. He took full responsibility. In the address to us, he said he made a decision. And Russia started sending rockets, then sending tanks. The Russian tanks started rolling over Ukraine. Russian soldiers went and started shooting and getting into fights with Ukrainian military, right? Well, in Ukrainian military, they took oath to protect Ukraine. Therefore, they're pushing and trying to push back and fight back and shoot, Well, that so far we're following the logic. But then this guy says that they're shooting and shelling back, trying to push back, they're responsible for the humanitarian catastrophe because they're shelling fires wheat, and wheat will be not harvested by the locals. Therefore, there will be a catastrophe. I don't know how to comment that, how to explain that. I don't have any takes on that. Okay, but then it's easy. It becomes so much easier because, according to the old speak, that's a dilemma that kind of I don't have the answer to. But the new speak, of course, Ukrainians shelling and everything burning, and that's catastrophe. Don't think, we told you so, and that's it. I don't think. I don't think I take them. I believe that. That's write it in my books. Fine. This is the NEWSPEAK. Russia, circa September 2022. I don't know how it can get better than this, but it does, because I'm going to be speaking about Taliban. You know who Taliban are. Good guys? That's not what I was told in the USSR when Russia, well, Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. I was 4 years old. And that was, this country that the forces of enemy, they were nemesis of us growing up. Afghanistan was everywhere. At schools, on TV, we saw people, Afghan heroes, the heroes of the USSR, people like soldiers who came back from Afghanistan. They would visit our schools and tell us about it. It was called the patriotic upbringing of Soviet kids. So Taliban were absolute evil, the scum of humanity. Okay, because Afghani people, according to the official Soviet propaganda, Afghani people invited Soviet troops to help them with bad guys. And the bad guys were Taliban. And the Soviet troops came in and they started fighting Taliban. And Taliban were responsible for 15,000 deaths of Russian young men. 15,000 of them died, lost lives in Afghanistan. And that's tragedy for USSR, and that was tragedy for Afghanistan because lots of people died there, But Taliban had no sympathy with us, not with me. My God, Taliban, enemies. Bandits, I don't know, just no good people in general. Then I lived in the United States in 2001, 9/11 happened, and Taliban were somewhat responsible. And the United States started a special military operation, or I don't know how it's called, a war in Afghanistan. And it was fighting Taliban. Taliban were helping Osama bin Laden to hide, and Americans were after Osama bin Laden. You all remember the drill. So Taliban just confirmed their position of the status of worst evil you can ever imagine. They're no good, I can't even say bums, they're no good people, they're just, enemies. Well, fast forward to 31st of March, 2022. The first official diplomat from the Taliban government accredited by Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. A Taliban group of diplomats come, they meet the Russian diplomats, Minister Sergei Lavrov meets them personally, shakes their hands, and gives accreditation to the first diplomat. It gets even better. In August, about a month ago, on 15th of August, a group of Taliban representatives flew to Russia, stayed in Russia for 2 days, and negotiated a wide number of questions, including the sales of oil, wheat, sunflower oil, and other stuff. The trade between Taliban, official Taliban, and the government in Russia. Wait a second. What about Afghanistan? What about 9/11? That's the old speak. The new speak, Taliban are good. Plain and simple. They are accredited with the Russian government. They come to negotiate. Bada bing, bada boom. The new speak. Okay? Accepted. I understand. September 2022, Russia. Well, a few more examples. That gets a little more serious, scarier, I don't know. Example number 5 of the NEWSPEAK. On the 13th of, from the 12th to the 13th of September, very recent events, an unthinkable thing happens. Russian troops all of a sudden regroup in a hurry and leave Kharkov region into some other place, I don't know where. They leave in a hurry, but according to the plan of this special military operation. And everyone is kind of, what? All right, I take that. But what follows is very strange. On the next day, on the 13th of September, Russian Minister of Education comes out and says through his press, PR department, press department, that no Russian teachers were in Kharkov region. My first thought was, why would he say that? I mean, obvious, right? But then, hours later, head of Russia's General Prosecution Office, one of the most powerful people in Russia, the head prosecutor, ordered an investigation of his department, of the prosecution, ordered an investigation into the arrests of the teachers who were teaching in Kharkov schools. That doesn't make any sense, right? Because look, Russian head of Russian prosecution office, he can make orders to investigate something that is done by Russians or against Russians. That makes sense, right? Why would he make an order to investigate something in Ukraine, in Kharkov region, that Ukrainians did something to Ukrainians? Doesn't make any sense. That's Ukrainians' business, right? Therefore, there's some kind of a smoke here. And then these things kind of contradict one another. That what Minister of Education said and the State Prosecutor's Office. Who to trust? Well, guess what? And there's no sarcasm here. I would trust the head of State Prosecution Office because that guy means business. That guy does actions. He orders investigation, and better believe it, investigation will be done. It's ongoing already. Whether Minister of Education comes out and says something, okay? So you see the difference? So I really do trust, the head of prosecution. I think that there were some arrests made and there's some trying to investigate. But that's the old speak. Who do I believe? One guy or another? That's the old speak. The new speak says, believe them both at the same time. And you know what? In Russia, in September of 2022, I have no problem believing them both because this is a new speak. Now I understand. The rules of the game changed. Old speak, out of the door. The new speak, inside and use. Okay, another example for you. Oh, international one. Armenia. Is this our friend? Well, it appears to be. Armenia is our strategical friend over decades. Armenia and Russia tied together. Economically, culturally, you name it. Armenia is very close to Russia. We have a defense pact with Armenia called ODKB. If someone attacks Armenia, we're right there with our troops supporting Armenia, defending Armenia. Well, guess what? At night on the 12th of September, an event happened in Armenia that required our assistance. Azerbaijan started firing at the Armenia. It started military actions, basically. Not for the first time. Azerbaijan and Armenia had a war, bloody war, in the 90s, and they've been, well, let's put it this way, their relationship's been real hard. They had a recent war, small war, or military actions. Tons of people died a couple of years ago, I think 2020. Well, don't quote me on that, but recently. There was a peace treaty signed, and now Azerbaijan started attacking. Well, Armenia called up Russia, said, hey, we need your help. We're a member of ODKB. And Russia, in times of trouble, helps. For example, 9 months ago, in January, there were riots, unlawfulness in Kazakhstan, and Kazakh president called Russian president, asked for troops, and Russia sent troops and helped Kazakhstan to restore order, right? That's at least the official version. Same thing with Armenia? No. Russia did not send any troops, did not send any. Russia did some negotiations with someone, and basically the result is both sides need to work out things peacefully, because wars are not good. Military actions are not good. Nancy Pelosi immediately flew to Armenia to offer Armenians friendship and defense from the United States, right? But the latest I know, Armenia is in no defensive pact or in no friendly or partnership agreement with the United States. It's with Russia. Yet somehow, Speaker of American Congress flies to Armenia and starts negotiating there. What the fudge? But that's old. That's old speak, old language. The new speak. It's okay. Armenia is our friend, but we do this and it's still friend and it's okay. It's okay. Don't think about it. And okay, I'm not going to think about it. Because it's September 2022 and Russia, and I have many other things to think about, So thank you. Thank you, the Newspeak creators. I won't think about it. Another example of the Newspeak. Keep them coming. Rostov-on-Don, my hometown, my place where I was born and I grew up, and I spent so much time, I don't know, so many years. Moreover, I spent this past summer in Rostov-on-Don. I'll remind you, in case you don't know, Rostov-on-Don is, if I take a pebble and throw it real hard, the pebble will land in Ukraine. It's so close to the border. It's like 40 miles from the border. Well, Rostov-on-Don enjoyed, or rather not enjoyed, a huge explosion at night of September 12th. The explosion was so loud, it was heard not just in Rostov. It was not in Rostov, but above Rostov somewhere. It was so loud, it was heard in the towns 200 kilometers apart, 120 miles. Imagine the magnitude of the explosion. There are millions of evidence of that. People were filming on their telephones when explosion went. Security cameras, I don't know, thousands of them. They're filming everything all the time. Boom. Like most people in Rostov woke up. Some houses were shaking. All cars' alarms went off. The news, Rostov small media, they started sending this evidence, uploading videos and asking questions. What the heck happened? And then they, of course, the answer from Ministry of Emergency Situations followed very, quickly, and perhaps next day. The Ministry of Emergency Affairs said that it is not or was not aware of any emergency situations in or around Rostov and in Rostov region. And the government, the governor's office and other government officials, they didn't say anything. They didn't comment. So this huge explosion happens, right? It's gotta be something. It's gotta affect somewhere. I don't know. It's boom. But the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Emergency Situations doesn't know anything about it and publicly says it. How is that possible? But I know how. That's the old speak. The new speak. What explosion? That in the sky? That not explosion. Must be a starlight or something, or a plane went into hypersonic and there's a boom. Just go to sleep, just go to sleep. Okay, I will go to sleep, no problem. Because this is September of 2022 and the night's getting longer and the days getting shorter. Thank you so much, I'll go to sleep. The last example I'm going to give you is from Donetsk. Donetsk is the capital of Donbass region, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, the breakaway republic of Ukraine. As I mentioned before, on September 12th, a kind of unthinkable happened. Russian troops regrouped and left to where they were needed more, okay? Apparently they were left, I don't really know, but I heard that they were left to defend Donetsk and Luhansk regions, okay? Okay, they left in a hurry, but according to the plan. I take that. The thing is, I really didn't understand what followed right after. The next day, the governor, so-called governor of these self-proclaimed republics, started saying, like making statements. And the message was, Ukrainians are pushing, they're approaching, but everything is under control. Forgive me, usually the guy doesn't speak out loud, like publicly. No one sides him, you can't hear, you just know what he's there. But that day, all of a sudden, 5 or 6 statements. He was saying, Ukrainians are pushing there, but not to worry, because everything is under control. Well, Ukrainians are almost near the line of this, engagement. But you know what? No worries. Everything's Donetsk militia army, controlling everything. And I was thinking, look, if Russian troops regrouped and went to support Donetsk, why did he have to worry about it, And then, if everything is under control, why do we need to know that Ukrainian troops pushing and trying to push, trying to counter-strike or counter-attack or whatever? We don't need to know that. You just do your job, But no. Very strange, don't you find? Everything is under control, and Ukrainians are pushing. But don't worry. They're pushing, but don't worry. It's all under control. It's controlled by us. We will prevail. Once you start asking questions, it kind of like doesn't 2 and 2 is. But if you don't ask questions, and if you use the newspeak, everything makes perfect sense. Of course. Why do you have to worry about anything? Don't you worry. Go to sleep. We'll under control. Everything is under. We'll take care of everything. You don't worry. They're pushing. No big deal. Under control. The newspeak. My friends, I've given you 8 examples of the newspeak. And there are many more. It's just, I think you understand, and I could be telling you for a couple more hours, okay? I don't really know what to ask you. Let me know what you think of my today's message. Let me know, I guess, if you ever faced Newspeak in your life, if you ever heard it, if it was ever real next to you, if you have experience, that'd be interesting to know. But this Newspeak experience for me is kind of blowing me up from the inside, okay? Because, how do I say that? I keep asking questions, and nothing can stop me from asking questions. That's the way I am. That's pretty much it. And when people try to use Newspeak on me, kind of doesn't work. Well, I think I tried to cover all questions, and I would like to thank you all for coming. Someone asking me, how do you want us to help? Well, if you want to help me, please share my message with your friends in the social media, with your, I don't know, family, with everyone. That would help me. Thank you, my friends, and as usual, I am inviting everyone to pray with me. I have couple new people to pray for, and this general situation. My friends, please, let's pray God. Let's ask for help, and let's praise God. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us this day, this Sunday. Thank you for food that you put on our tables. Thank you for roofs that you put over our heads. Thank you for the loved ones that you've surrounded us with, and people who love us and who we love. Please help our children, keep them safe and healthy, and give us parents wisdom to raise them the way that when they grow up, they will make this place a better world and they will never fight with one another. Please help everyone in Ukraine. Help to stop bloodshed as soon as possible. Reach out and touch people's hearts, minds, open their eyes who can make decision to stop this bloodshed. Touch their hearts and fill them with love, mercy, forgiveness, make them tender. Do whatever you know what to do so they make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Help everyone who has been touched in Ukraine, who's been affected by this tragedy. Give them strength, give them recovery, give them forgiveness, please. Send luck their way. Do whatever you know what to do to ease their pain and help their situation. Please send angels to every single person who's in Ukraine now, so they keep every person out of harm's way, so not one single drop of blood is shed any longer. Help my country, please. Send an army of your strongest angels with sharper swords, led by Saint Michael, to get rid of the demons that have hijacked my country and make it run by angels and make it shine again, make it righteous again, please. I would like to ask you for all women who are pregnant and making decision whether to keep the baby or not, their babies or not. Reach out and talk to them. Influence them in a way that they make the right decision, and please send help their way. Surround them with the loved ones. Please help everyone who is traveling. Give them safe travels. Please help everyone who is running for their lives, seeking for asylum. Please send help their way. Please help everyone who is depressed or has anxiety. Send them help. please send help to those who help in Ukrainians, opening their arms, hearts, wallets, homes, praying for them. Every single person who does that, please help them. Thank you for sending us into this community. Thanks for showing us the way how to find it. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to pray together. Please help everyone who is praying in the stream. Answer their prayers and have their dreams come true. I would like to ask for a few people. They need your help, and I would like everyone to join me and ask for those people too. Ask God for those people too. Michael Milkevitz, blood transfusion and recovery. Please help Michael. Cindy Braddock is going for surgery. Black Cat is in rehab. Please give strength and recovery. Dirk Misler's father is having health troubles. Please help him. Send your help and send recovery. Yelena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Galina, and Igor, Buzz, Jean-Paul, Paula, Janine, Michael, Marlene, Susan S., Fiona, Madeline, Stephen, Alan, Freddie, Sabrina, Felicia, Paul Benz, Preacher's father, family of Rudy Kaisley, Richard, Robert Morgan's sister, Mallory M. Please help with her professional situation. Just Terry, Brittany S. Help to find her way, please. Lars Hendrick's father. Please help with eating and gaining weight. Wait for it. Lane Hankins. Reese Gray, our friend who we haven't seen in quite some time. Bridget Apley. Help with her PTSD. May God rest sound of Bristol Andrews, and please give strength to her family and loved ones who miss and love and in pain. Please help them. Hannah and her children. May Scott Nesbitt's sister rest in peace, and please give Scott Nesbitt strength to go over this tragedy. Michelin Beatty, Priscilla, King Nero, Gaby Hyman, Martin, Joanne, Donald, Allison Dave Moyers, I found Waldo, Liz, Deborah, Isabel Legault, may her father rest in peace and give her strength, please. Janice Burgess, Maureen M. and sister. Ariana, Liz Dumbrell, Bruce, Kayleen, Michael, Thomas, Tony, Bob, Jessica, Minutes to Midnight, Sandy Workman and her husband, who is in and out of the hospital, please help. Mr. Hansen, Heidi Howitz, Golden Griffon, Terry Carter, and Carol Reed. Thank you so much, dear God. Thank you, Amen. My friends, thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoyed my stream today. I tried to make it not too boring. Thank you. Again, I have a good message for you tomorrow. Please come back tomorrow. I hope to see you here. And you're awesome and you rock. That's what I wanted before signing off. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.